Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of Instead We Made a Pod. I am MJ, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Adam.
Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. It's the Easter holidays for me now, so I'm off for 2 weeks, which is very nice. Just trying to keep some semblance of a routine so I don't just end up bed rotting every single day. But I've got some fun things planned, like LEP, and I'm seeing you really soon as well, aren't I?
Yes, we're seeing each other in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
Um
it's important to me to
yeah.
remember that.
Yes.
You're picking
Yeah,
it up.
we are going to the Dublin preview party. It will be featuring Luke Black and Connolly, so that's very exciting. And yeah, just all around quite excited to have a fun little night out, even though Dublin prices are so expensive. But fuck it, we'll manage it.
Yes, very excited to pay an extortionate amount for one pint of beer.
Yes.
It'll be nice. And yeah, today we will obviously we've been talking about national finals and rewatches, things like that. But national final season is well and truly over. It's been over for nearly a month now. And we promised that we would talk about some internal entries. Adam, I don't know about you, but I am loving some of the internal selections this year.
Yeah, the internals have come in really, really hard this year. It's that like I was kind of thinking that like the national final season had gone so well that we were going to get quite a lot of weak internals. But realistically, like a lot of the internals that we've gotten have been like super strong so far. So it's just made it like shape up to be just an incredibly strong year. And yeah, it's really tough to call how this is going to go in May.
Yeah, really hard. I do have an inkling about who I think might win at this stage, but even then, I'm really not sure. And I love that. I love that I'm not sure who's going to win.
Yeah, I feel like since maybe I feel 2018 might have been the last year that like like people weren't sure going into the contest who was like winning.
Yeah,
Um and I feel like every year since then, like I mean, Arcade we kind of knew was gonna win.
yeah,
Måneskin we knew was gonna win. Um Ukraine in 2022, people had a really, people had a good inkling that there would be a big televote push for Ukraine. And on top of that, Stephanie just being a very strong contender anyway to win.
yeah,
Um, and then 2023, we all knew Loreen was walking it.
yeah, totally. So I'm excited that we've got a year where it's not a lock. Um, I just think that's really cool. So let's
Hmm.
get right on cracking then, talking about the first internal. We're going to talk about six of them in today's episode. And we'll start with
Yes.
our first one, which was actually the first artist that we got. Not the first entry, but the first artist that was announced, which is Musti for Belgium with his song Before the Party's Over. Adam, what are your thoughts on this song?
Oh, this song is so good. I really, really enjoy this entry. I was kind of like I didn't know what to expect. Like I had listened to a bit of Musti's music when he had originally been announced, and like some of it I was like, nah, not really for me. And then some of his songs I was like, oh, like this is really, really good. So I was kind of like I didn't know where I was gonna fall with the with his entry. But I've really fallen on the positive side. I think it's just really, really well done. It's a really, really beautifully written song. And that last minute is just so powerful. Um, I worry for Belgium because I don't think Belgium are the best at staging their entries. So I'm worried how they're going to translate this onto TV. But I have a lot of faith that this song is good enough to give Belgium a really good fighting chance at like a solid top 10 performance. I don't think this is really going to be competing for the win, but I think this could do very, very well in Malmo. It definitely could get a lot of jury love. I think the song also has a bit of a televote appeal just because it's just a really well done song. And I think it will attract an audience. There's not really much that has this specific sound from a male artist this year. Like we're kind of it's not a very kind of I guess you could call this a ballad-ish, but like it's not a very ballad heavy year. So I think this is really going to stand out as a really, really good vocal performance if he can pull off everything live, which from what we've seen at pre-parties so far, like the Madrid pre-party was this weekend, and it did seem like he could pull it off live. So yeah, I've a lot of hope for Belgium this year. And to be honest, I the only thing I'm really worried about is how they stage this because we've seen Belgium come with some really, really good entries like this before, and their staging just completely lets them down. So hopefully they've got a good team behind it. But MJ, what are you thinking about before the party's over?
I love this song. I haven't done a proper ranking since we've got all of the songs yet. I need to kind of sit with them and make it sort of finalized. I might do that after LEP actually, because I feel like seeing a lot of the acts live will kind of change things for me.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I have this somewhere floating around my top three, top five. I really slept on Musty. I listened to some of his songs like you when he got announced, and I was like, oh yeah, he seems pretty good. And then I just forgot about him. I think just because he was announced so early, I just kind of, and then we just got so many other songs, and I just kind of forgot. So by the time we got before the party's over, I just remember sitting there listening to it. And yeah, like you said, that last minute in particular, and just going, oh my God, this is incredible. I love the way that it builds. You know, it starts off kind of soft and quiet, and then it just builds to this incredible crescendo with the choir. And I love the fact that he's kind of done a Davy Fry and got Euro fans to sing kind of the choir. And I think he confirmed
Yeah.
he'd used all of the voices as well, not just a few of them. I just think
Oh,
it's a
that's sweet.
really well constructed song. And I agree with
Mm-hmm.
you. I think this has jury appeal for sure. And we're kind of in a year where that could really work in his favor because I think there's a lot of songs that have got huge televote appeal this year. So when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
those jury votes, you know, that could really work to his advantage because, you know, people are thinking of the televote, but, you know, the jury's 50-50. I think that could, you know, really work in his favor. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of staging, I agree with you. Belgium staging is never normally that strong. I mean, Gustav's staging last year was really cool. I will say that. But I feel like historically they don't do very much with their staging apart from Gustav. I'm thinking of Hooverphonic in 2021 and Blanche in 2017, like both of which I absolutely love. But you know, staging wise, they weren't doing anything crazy. I think if they go
Mm-hmm.
for something like the music video where he's got kind of like the gold kind of glitter paint on him, that could be really cool. And I do think he's an incredible performer. Seeing him at the Madrid party, he seems like he's a really solid vocalist, and he was doing a really good job at getting crowd engaging as well. And it's got that hook that I think could get people in the arena singing along with him as well. Could be a real moment. I
Yeah.
really hope this does well because I think it might be one of my favorite Belgian entries in a very long time.
Me too. Me too. I think
I
this
think
is like I think for me, this is probably top three for me at the moment, in my personal ranking. I just really, really connect with it. So I hope to God that Belgium don't screw up this staging, and I hope that this song gets the recognition that it deserves in May.
yes, definitely. On to another one, which is very different to Belgium, but is also one that people in the Euro fandom seem to be really engaging with, and that is Marina Sati Zari. I will go first with this one, Adam, if that's okay.
Yeah, you can go first, MJ.
I was so excited when Marina Sati was announced. Now, I'd never heard of her when she was announced, but I immediately went and listened to some of her songs because I was covering Greece for Phoenix this year. So I was like, okay, I'm writing an article about her. I'll check out some of her music and see what kind of vibe she's going with. I immediately connected with her music, especially the song Tukatum. I love that kind of ethnic, kind of traditional vibe that she then fuses with these kind of hip hop and pop kind of elements. I really love it when artists blend traditional elements of their culture with this kind of modern sound. I just think she does it so brilliantly. So I was so excited to see what she would bring with Zari. I remember initially being quite nervous because the Greek delegation had announced that they wanted songwriters to submit songs and that she would get to maybe choose one of them to sing. And I was initially really worried that that meant she was going to end up sending something that wasn't really representative of Marina Sati because I love the music she was putting out already. But it was all a bit of a storm in a teacup because the song that she's ended up sending is one that she's written herself. And I think it really, really, really shows that this is very much the kind of music that Marina Sati would be making, whether she was entering Eurovision or not. It's so cool. And just the more I listen to it, the more I fall in love with it. I love the music video. I think the music video is absolutely off the wall, particularly the bit where she's like spinning the car and that, that old Greek touring man is like hanging on for dear life in the back of the car. It just made me laugh so much when I saw that bit of the video. I am really excited by this. I'm really excited to see what it does at Eurovision. And I have heard that she's going to be producing the staging all in one shot, which normally I would be like, oh God, there's so many opportunities for things to go wrong there. But her most played music video on YouTube is all done in one shot as well. So I feel confident that we're working with someone here who really knows what they're doing when it comes to that sort of thing. And I just think she's an artist. And I just love an artist at Eurovision. Like, I know that she didn't do well with the Pella vote, but I love Blanca Paloma last year. I love people that just send art. And to me, this is art. I love it so much. Adam, what are your thoughts on Zari?
Oh, okay. I really, 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 really want to get this. Like, I want to get this, and I'm trying to get this. And like, it just hasn't clicked for me entirely yet. Like, I definitely can swallow it a lot easier than I was able to at the beginning. Like, I'm kind of starting to be like, okay, like, yeah, this is fun. But like, it's, I can't, maybe it's just too highbrow and I'm just a little bit too basic, but it's just, I can't get it. And that's really sad to say. But for me, I just yeah, it's just it's not for me. It's not my thing. I enjoy the instrumental quite a bit. I think the instrumental is really fun. And I would agree like the music video is batshit, and I love anything that's like a little bit wild and quirky. But like I don't know. I hope by the time May comes around, I this has clicked 100% and I can really vibe with it. But I fear I'm not going to get to that point, and I wish I could get it, but I just don't. It's just not for me, I think. And that's like, oh, it breaks my heart because I know it's one of the fan favorites, and I know people are going to be like, "Adam, you're so fucking tasteless." But like, I don't know. It's just not my thing. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Do you know what? That's fair enough because I would 100% imagine that. Like, whenever we do like the rewatches and there's an entry like Zari, I'm like, oh yeah, this was in my top five. I absolutely love it. And you're like, yeah, not for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
tend to like those kind of weird, quirky, kind of cultural songs, and you're a bit like, meh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the inner Melfest girly in me that just will prefer like a polished pop song over something a little bit more kind of cultural. Maybe I'm just too basic. Maybe that's the problem.
You're an uncultured swine.
Yes, exactly.
Fair. I guess coming on to our next song then, and I think it's safe to say that this was something that both you and I have gone on a bit of a journey with. And
Yes.
that is the Netherlands with Europapa by Joost. I will let you start, Adam, and explain the journey that me and you, I think, both went on with this song.
Yeah. So I think like I'm not gonna speak for us both, but I'll like, I think kind of we kind of had a similar experience where when this song originally came out and we listened to it for the first time, I just was kind of like, oh no, like this is not for me at all. I don't get it. I don't like it. No, like I was like, this was like competing with like no rules for like my last place, barring the two countries that shouldn't be there. But um, this was kind of like I was like, okay, like I think this is like really low for me. It's not going to be my thing, and this is going to be like that song of the year that I just don't get that everyone else loves. And then the more I listened to it, I was like, wait, hold on, there's something here. And then now I'm like, you know what? Actually, this is really, really fun. And like, yeah, it's not gonna crack my top 10. It's not gonna like be competing for like my winner or anything like that, but I totally get why people love this, and I totally get why like it's doing so well, and I think it is going to do really, really well in May. Um, to be honest, like it's now on my workout playlist, and it's such a good gym song. It's such a good gym song. And yeah, it's just like it's a fun song. I think when like people say like, oh, like if you don't like the likes of like no rules or anything, you just hate fun. And I would always say like, no, I just like good songs. I think Europapa is proof that like you can have like a fun song that is also actually quite good. And like it took me a while to get to that point with Europapa. And I guess my fear is for people who might be like me, where maybe on first listen they're just kind of like, oh, this just feels a bit jokey or whatever. Like it might not resonate with them, and like the fact that like it's taken me time to appreciate the song truly for what it is, I do fear that like that might be a thing for other people, but I still think this has the potential to do very, very well. um I would put this under like a potential winner, to be honest. Like I do think this has potential to win Eurovision. Do I think it's winning Eurovision? No, but I think this very much so is like a top five, really kind of breathing down the neck of the winner, but I just don't think it's winning Eurovision. I don't think it's going to get enough jury love. But really, really fun song, and I'm really, really excited to hear this in Malmo. Really excited, and it's going to go off in Euro Club. It's going to be so much fun. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for that. But MJ, how are you feeling with Euro Papa?
So I went on kind of a similar journey to you, but for very different reasons. Again,
Hmm.
much like with Marina Sati, I checked out Yost's music when I was writing about him and also slightly earlier because obviously Yost campaigned heavily to represent the Netherlands at Eurovision. He was very open about wanting to do it. There were petitions signed by radio stations to get him there. In terms of a PR campaign, I think Yoast has played an absolute blinder. And it's really
Yeah.
cool to see artists so passionate about representing their country at Eurovision. And I do,
And big artists at that.
yeah,
Like
because Yoast
Yoast
is
was like,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, and also I do feel like we have to give a shout out to Karia for people like Yoast really wanting to go for it, because I do think that he paved the way. Not that Karia and Yoast are similar musicians, they're not. They make very different music. But I do think that Carrier kind of proved to people who might think that their music wouldn't necessarily have a place at Eurovision that it absolutely does and can do well. And I do think
Oh,
why we've
yeah,
got a,
100%.
yeah, I think that's why we've got a lot of your kind of baby lasagnas and your Yoasts and that kind of thing going for it more and more, because
Yeah.
Carrier obviously did very well. The
We're
reason,
seeing we're seeing we're seeing the Katia effect across Eurovision this year. I mean,
yes,
obviously you've got like Baby Lasagna, you've got Yoast. I would even put the likes of Bambi Thug. Like we're seeing alternative music
yeah,
really flourish this year. And
yeah.
I
And I
think
think
that's
we're going to
why
see that for
it's
years to come as well.
yeah, I think that's why it's so open this year as well, because we're seeing so many different genres and different acts come into Eurovision this year. I think like we're kind of beginning to find that happy medium from,
Mm,
say, the noughties when it was kind of novelty and a bit of a piss take and there wasn't a lot of quality music, into,
yeah,
say, maybe 2015, 2016, where it was a lot of pop and a lot of kind of like generic jury kind of stuff. And
yeah,
now we're beginning to see like the happy medium between those two, where we're getting like songs that the juries are going to love, songs that the televote are going to love. And I think we're going to see more and more like discrepancies between jury winners and televote winners. Um
definitely.
and it's going to be really, really interesting. But yeah, I think like credit where it's due to Kadia. Like he has most definitely like I wouldn't say he's like paved the way, but I think like some artists came before him, and then like Kadia was the one that like opened the floodgates, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
I think
Like
he
there was
showed that you
alternative
could
acts
send that
coming
kind of
through.
music to Eurovision and be successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And the reason I kind of went on a bit of a journey with Europapa isn't because this isn't my type of music. Weirdly, it kind of is. There was a bit of me that went for a bit of a happy hardcore phase a long time ago. Um, but I really loved Freezing Young, which is the song that Yost released with Skiagu, very famous German rapper. It went stratospheric in Germany and also in German speaking countries like Austria, sort of the German speaking parts of Belgium. I loved that song so much. I was obsessed with it. And when he announced that he was sending Europapa and the title was all we had to go off, I was really intrigued because having listened to a lot of Yost's other music, I know that Yost lost his parents when he was young. He was orphaned by the time he was still a young lad. So I kind of twigged the song was going to be about his father to a certain extent. And I didn't know if we were going to get something really upbeat and kind of club bangery like Freezing Young, or if we were going to get something more like his song Florida 2009, which was about the last holiday that he took with his parents before they both passed away. And I was like, okay, are we getting serious Yost or are we getting, you know, banger Yost? So when I first heard Europapa, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this as much as the music of his that I've listened to. I love the bit at the end where in the music video, not in the studio version, he kind of pays tribute to his dad and it goes quite somber and quite serious. I really hope they find a way to incorporate that in the stage show because I think that will maybe hammer the message of the song home a little bit more to locals who are just going to go, oh, this is fun. Because it does
Mm,
have a really serious meaning behind it. I actually think that in terms of what the song contest is about and what being European is about, For me, Europapa has room to really be a song that sums up Eurovision and what Eurovision should be, because it's all about kind of the importance of freedom of movement and, being European, not just being from sort of one country. And we obviously see that in the music video and in the lyrics and the fact that he incorporates different languages into the song. I do think that a lot of locals just kind of watching at home who don't speak Dutch or German or, any of the kind of languages that he uses in the song might not get it. But I really hope that he adds the bit at the end for that reason. I think that could really appeal to the juries as well. Um,
Yeah.
I found that this went from being kind of lower in my rankings than I thought Yoast was going to be, to every time I listened to it, just climbing higher and higher and higher, to the point where it's now in contention to be my winner. My winner changes all the time. I have a few songs that I would be quite happy winning, but this is one of
Hmm.
them. And I just find that really wild that I went from being a bit like, it's all right, to being like, oh my God, no, I actually would be thrilled if this won. I think that
Yeah.
I agree with you that does that mean it's potentially concerning that if we didn't get it right away, that there's room for it to not resonate with a televote? I don't think that's something we need to worry about though with this song. I think Joost has enough of a pull, not just in the Netherlands, who obviously can't vote for him, but in other countries, that I don't think he's in any danger of being successful with a televote score. And I think even the
Yeah.
people that just think it's kind of a bit of frivolous fun, there's enough people that watch Eurovision that are looking for exactly that, that will love this. In
Yeah.
terms of a jury score, I agree with you. I'm really intrigued to see how juries place this. I know juries have got some criticism for not giving songs like this enough love. They were obviously heavily criticized for placing Carrier fourth last year, although I was actually pleasantly surprised with fourth from a jury. I
Yeah.
think,
So was I.
yeah, I think my thing with this is that, do I think this is going to do as well with juries as it does with televote? No, I don't think it will. I think televotes will hoover this up. I think juries will give it a respectable score because they don't want to tank a favorite and because some of them will really like it. But I don't think it's going to win a jury vote.
No.
However, two things I think that could really work in its favor for jury. One, Yost is an incredible live performer. He hosted his very first live performance of Europapa at a gig in the Netherlands, and he sounded just as good. The crowd were going off as well, which was really exciting to see. There were mosh pits. Kind of hope there's a mosh pit at the Malmo Arena. I just like a mosh pit. You and I both love a mosh pit.
I'll start one. I'm in standing. I'll start one.
Excellent. I am sitting, so I will just cheer you on. But I also think that what could work in its favor is that this is a year where there's not a runaway winner yet. Last year, it was Lorene's to lose, and we all kind of knew that Lorene was going to dominate a jury vote. I
Hmm.
don't necessarily think, and I'm prepared to be wrong, but I don't necessarily think that we have an artist this year that's going to dominate the jury. I think the jury will be more evenly split than it was last year. And I think
Yeah.
if you get someone like Yost achieving a jury score that is similar to maybe what Carrier did last year, and then he gets a
Hmm.
really high televote, that could get him the win. Because realistically, if Lorene hadn't dominated the jury quite as much as she would have, Carrier probably would have won. That televote was enough to get him a win. It's just that he didn't place very high, as high with the juries. You know,
Yeah.
Lorene got nearly everything that you could get from the juries. I don't think that's
Yeah.
happening this year, and therefore I can really envision a split screen this year where Yost is taking up half of it. I really can. Um, And yeah, that would be really cool and really interesting, and a good comeback from the Netherlands, who obviously didn't qualify last year.
Yeah, and like, look, like I've said this before, I would be really up for the Netherlands winning, if it's not this year, but like in the near future, because I do think that the Netherlands deserve to host a Eurovision that's under normal circumstances.
Definitely.
Um, and the thing is as well, like Rotterdam 2021 was so good
I
that
know.
like I've no fear about Netherlands hosting um a Eurovision. Like I feel like they know what they're doing. And also we like two of our great friends of the pods will both be living in the Netherlands. So, if it's Maastricht 2025, we've got free accommodation because we'll all be squeezing into Gotham's uni accommodation. So
And also, little shout out to our other friend who lives in the Netherlands, Micah. She
yes.
kind of was offering some insights into what this is like from a Dutch person's perspective. And it's really interesting hearing a person from that country speak about their own Eurovision song. And she said this song is so quintessentially Dutch, not just that it's sung in Dutch, but this is the type of music that young people in the Netherlands are listening to. And
Yeah.
she said that, there's just huge hype from sort of a demographic that wouldn't really watch Eurovision in the Netherlands are really getting behind Europapa. And I just think that's so cool. It's really cool to see that, people in your own country are really excited about what your act could do at Eurovision this year. People who might normally not bother.
It
I
goes
just
to show, it goes to show if you send the right song, your country will get behind you. Doesn't matter if
100%.
they're into Eurovision or not.
Yeah. And it does seem like that's what's happened with Yost. So regardless of how he does in May, he'll always have that. And that's really cool for him. And he seems lovely. So made up for him. And not just because I kind of think he's cute in a weird way.
But I
Hey, you.
suppose then, I suppose then we can move on from the Netherlands because we have yapped about it for as long as we possibly could
Who
have.
knew when that song first came out?
That we would spend so much time talking about it. But no, it deserves it. It really is. It's one of the front runners to win. So yeah, it deserves a bit of time and attention. But yeah, really, really happy for the Netherlands and really happy for all the Dutch Euro fans because they deserve, they're a good group of fans. I'm very fond of the Dutch Euro fans.
Me too.
But we'll move on then from one of the bookies' favorites to win to to Australia. And yeah, I will let you get started on Australia, MJ. I don't think this is going to take as long as the Netherlands took, but take it away.
Yes. So Australia, who we kind of were wondering if even would come back this year, because obviously their contract had kind of ended. But they are, and once again, they are sending an act that previously tried to compete to represent Australia back when they still used the Australia Decides format. They are sending Electric Fields with their song One Mikolai, One Blood. I will start off with the positives, as I so often do, because, that teacher brain just never shuts off. I do really appreciate two things about this. Firstly, I appreciate that since Australia have ditched the national final format, they seem to be sending acts that wanted to go. They did it with Voyager last year. I was obviously a huge fan of Promise. And I think that's cool that acts that really wanted to go are getting like another chance. And I do really appreciate that there is Aboriginal representation coming from Australia this year. It's really great that there's, Indigenous language elements being featured in the song. One of the one half of Electric Field is Aboriginal. I think it's really important that there is that representation from a community that obviously was decimated. And I think that that should absolutely be shown up and represented wherever it can. I will say about the song that I have listened to it a handful of times since it was released. I think it's fine, but I think in this year, Fine is just not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think part of the problem that I have with it is the music video. I find prolonged eye contact really uncomfortable. And in the music video, all Electric Fields are doing is just kind of staring at the camera. And
Mm-hmm.
just that just makes me really uncomfortable. So I can't watch it too often. And I
Mm-hmm.
sort of hope that obviously when they're at Malmo, they're going to bring a completely different stage show. It's going to probably not be what the music video is. And I think it can be really difficult to judge internal entries sometimes because I think I said this on a space previously. Obviously, when it comes to a national final, unless it's something like Eurosong where you've got a tiny little stage and not very good sound mixing, but when it comes to like Melfest, say, you kind of know roughly what it is that you're going to get and you can kind of judge the full package. We can't really do that with Australia. They're not doing any of the pre-parties because Australia is very far away. Newsflash. And we're probably not going to see what they have to offer until May. But from what we have so far, this isn't competing to be very high in my rankings. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I'm disappointed because I really enjoyed 2000 and whatever, right? I'm gonna start off by saying that. Like, I think that was a great song. And if things had been reversed and it was 2000 and whatever this year, then I think Australia would be pushing for not only a qualification, but a very good spot in the final. This, yes, this I don't see a pathway that this qualifies. I really don't. I think this is probably coming maybe 12th or 13th in the semi. Um, there just isn't a big enough punch to the song that will really bring it anywhere. Again, I really enjoy the use of the Aboriginal language, that there's Aboriginal influences in the instrumentalization of it, but I just don't see this doing that well in May, and I'm sad for that because, you know, I want to see Australia continue to do well in Eurovision because I like Australia in Eurovision, and I would also, like to maybe see one of their neighbors enter someday. Um,
Are you talking about New
so
Zealand, Adam?
I am talking about New Zealand. I would love, I'm obviously as someone who kind of grew up in New Zealand and Ireland, I would very much like to see New Zealand come into Eurovision at some point. But like I just don't think this is going to be a year that Australia qualifies. Um, so I think it's unfortunate, but I just don't think this is their year. Um, Fair play to them. Like, I'm sure that this is going to sound good because we know that they can sing live. Um, but I just don't think the song is strong enough, unfortunately. Um, yeah, just not very strong all around. Just a weak song, weak song. So sorry, Electric Fields, but I think it's the semi-final for you guys this year.
Yeah, I agree. And that is a shame because I hope it doesn't put Australia off coming back. Because I do, by and large, really like Australia in Eurovision. And I would love to see them still keep using this format where they send people who really wanted to go. And I would love
Jaguar
to
Jones.
Jaguar Jones. I was just about to say, send Jaguar
Yeah.
Jones, please. I
Yes.
wanted her to go both times that she competed. Just send her, please.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So from Australia to a country that has a similar name to Australia.
Great segue, MJ. Great segue.
I was
Well
trying to think
done.
of like how do I segue from
Jesus
Australia to
Christ.
Austria?
Oh, that was woeful. Well done. Okay, yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah. Country that sounds okay, yeah. Go on, MJ.
It sounded so much better in my head, but it's fine. We're going with it. That's what my brain decided to do today.
Can tell it's a bank holiday for MJ.
Yep, you can tell I'm not at work. Thank God. I loathe myself. Austria this year are sending Helene with her song We Will Rave. Adam, I feel like I should let you lead with this.
Oh, this is so much fun. This is great. Like, this is just, it's just dancey and a little bit camp and just naughties 90s dance music. It's got such a kick to it. The pre-chorus is so much fun. The drum and bass bridge is so much fun. It's just great. Like the whole thing is just so much fun. And like, is this gonna win Eurovision? No. Am I gonna have such a fun time dancing in the arena and Euro Club to this? Absolutely. Like it's just one of those songs that like I'm gonna have a gay old time popping around to this. It's great. Like I really enjoy the different dance elements that are in the song. Colleen's vocals are strong from what we've seen. And like the thing is, it's so nice to see an artist that has been so involved in Eurovision for so many years. Like she was a stand-in for practically fucking everyone at this point. Um, she was in the flag parade in 2018. She's been around Eurovision, so I think that will also help her because she knows what it's like to be in this bubble. And I'm sure she will have some great ideas staging wise. Austria have consistently just been sending some like really fun stuff to Eurovision every year lately. Between Halo and Who the Hell is Edgar to We Will Rave, like Austria are just having a great time as of late, and I'm so here for it. Like it's just been fun and yeah, like look, this is not threatening for the win. But I feel like this is gonna finish quite respectably, as long as the staging matches the energy of the song. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to see it in May. So excited. MJ, how are you feeling about Austria? That sounds coincidentally quite like Australia.
Leave me alone. Yeah, I remember when Colleen was announced, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. This is someone who really knows her way around Eurovision, as well as obviously, like you said, she's been a stand-in for a number of acts. She's done
Every
Black
act ever.
Parade, nearly every act ever, including Junior Eurovision. She's done a lot of stuff for as well. She's
Hmm.
also done a lot of stage direction as well. So she's been responsible for sort of supporting other artists and sort of making their kind of visions become a reality. So I think in terms of what she could bring to the table in terms of a stage show, she's obviously someone who knows the inner workings, and that could give her a real leg up because, an act who's, maybe not performed in this capacity, thinking about, say, Baby Lasagna, who's still quite a new artist as a solo act, you're really relying on other people to kind of make that vision work for you, whereas she knows how all of this works. And yeah, I think that could be really interesting. I really appreciate that Austria are just kind of sending whatever they want at the minute. Um, Initially, I was a little hesitant when I heard that this was yet another Jimmy Joker Thornfell track.
Yes.
I was like, really? We're getting another Melfest reject. We got Who the Hell is Edgar, which was lyrical genius. I adored Who the Hell is Edgar lyrically last year. To something that, obviously Jimmy Joker probably wrote in an afternoon when he had nothing to do, just on his coffee break. However, that was all completely eradicated for me when I first heard the song. I think this is great fun. I initially worried that this was the kind of entry that Euro fans would really embrace and would become the fan favorite, but that maybe locals wouldn't be as bothered about, and maybe that could hurt it. But actually, who doesn't love a girl bop? There aren't loads of them this year. And actually, there's a certain kind of demographic of people who remember what it was like to go to a rave in the 90s that are going to absolutely go wild for this. And I definitely think this is going to qualify now. I remember being a little bit uncertain, and I think I said that on a space as well. I've kind of done a bit of a U-turn. I do think this is going to qualify. I think it's going to be a camp old bit of fun, especially seeing the music video. Colleen knows exactly what demographic she's appealing to at Eurovision music
Yep.
video.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that this will just be so much fun. And Colleen just seems like such a sweet woman. I don't think she's ever been to a rave in her life. She does not give me that vibe. She seems like a lovely woman, and I really hope this does well for her. And I cannot wait to be on a dance floor when this song comes on. Like in 2 weeks, when we see each other, we're going to be going off. And
Oh yeah.
when I see her, LEP, one of the people I'm going with is our friend, our mutual friend Adam O, who was on our 1996 rewatch episode. You should go listen to that if you haven't already. I know he is so excited to hear this song. I might not.
As he should.
Him. I'm a little bit scared he's just going to launch me across the venue, but like, but I'm very excited to hear Colleen.
Yeah, this is so much fun. I'm buzzing for it. Like, yeah, it's not threatening a win, but this is great. This is so much fun. And from a country, I guess, who we don't really think is threatening for a win, to, as it stands, the bookies' favorite. Now,
Adam, that was a much better segue than mine. Well done.
Thank you. Someone showed up to work today. But look, but do take that with a pinch of salt, because the bookies are changing all the time. So as the time of recording, this is the bookies' favorite. But this year has been such a roller coaster on the bookies.
Really not much in it, is there? There's like a couple of matches.
Yeah. So do take this with a pinch of salt. At the time of recording, the bookies' favorite, which is The Code by Nemo. I'm going to start off, MJ, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
This song is a work of art. It's incredible. The instrumentalization. Oh my God. The drum and bass with the operatic tones of Nemo, plus the orchestral moment in that last minute. The whole thing is just absolutely beautiful. I am so, so, so excited to see this and to see what Nemo does. They're working with the staging director that does everything for UMK. He did Cha Cha Cha's staging, and he did Mons Ermelov's Hero staging. So I'm just, I cannot wait to see what Nemo is going to do in Malmo. This song is so beautiful. I mean, the song being called The Code, and talking about breaking the code, and it all being about the binary code, and Nemo being a non-binary artist. It's so clever and beautifully well done. And Nemo just seems like the absolute sweetest person. The content from the pre-party so far, Nemo just seems so lovely and so gorgeous. And I'm really, really excited, and I really, really want this to win. And I don't care if it means I can't go to Eurovision next year because it's going to be too expensive because it's in Switzerland. I really, really want this to win. It's a work of art, the whole thing. The music video is incredible. And I'm just so excited to see this live. And the fact that Nemo, the two live performances that we've gotten now, Nemo has nailed both of the performances both times. If people don't think this is a real contender for the win, I don't know what you're doing, because this is really, really this could win Eurovision, and it should win Eurovision. And oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. My winner this year by a country mile. Just incredible. Thank you so much, Nemo, for bringing this to the contest, because oh, what a work of art. MJ, take it away.
Okay, Jon Sand. Shout out to my real dad, Jon Sand. Love that man. Oh yeah, I can only echo what you said. I adored this from the moment I heard it. I remember when the song debuted, I was in a handover at work, so I couldn't listen to it when it premiered. Then I went and sat at my desk afterwards and listened to it, and I was just gobsmacked and just enamored from the very first listen. It immediately went in my top three, which is where it stayed. And like I've said, my winner's changing all the time. This is one of them. I think that Nemo is such an incredible vocalist. I love the genre blending. From a country that in recent years we've really come to associate with sending just like male ballads. I love that we're getting a non-binary artist who hasn't sent a ballad. They've sent basically near enough every genre you could possibly fit into a 3-minute song. You've got the operatic element, you've got the pop, you've got the rapping segment, you've even
the rap.
The rap is so good. And you've even got that kind of drum and bass instrumental. I love drum and bass so much. It's one of my favorite genres of music. I just think this is so clever. And yeah, lyrically, obviously, talking about the binary code, zeros and ones, and between the two of them, that's where Nemo's found a kind of sanctuary, their place of safety. So clever.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
It's so good.
And I love clever lyrics at Eurovision. We know that for the Phoenix, I'm a big fan of a lyrical deep dive. You could definitely do something like this for the code. But even instrumentally and sonically, you know, the fact that this song doesn't fit into one genre, just like Nemo does not belong to one gender. Genius.
Oh my God, I never even thought of that.
Yes. So clever, you know. And that's that theme and that idea is carried. I'm just delivering a lecture on the code now. I'm really in my English teacher mode. I'm really making up for that Austria nonsense. Even the music video with them walking through the train, and every single section they go to, they're in a different outfit, a different costume, and they're not really comfortable in any of the compartments they're being put in until right at the end of the music video, where they do their own thing and they're wearing this kind of, you know, androgynous kind of dress, but also not kind of outfit. You know, that what the song is about is absolutely carried through in the lyrics, in the music, in the video. And I really think that with the people that Nemo has behind them, that message is absolutely going to be carried through in the staging as well. So I think that people will get it. And I'm just so excited to see how they're going to translate it onto the stage. And I was a little bit nervous when I heard the song, because I was like, oh my God, this is so vocally ambitious. If you can't carry this off live, it's going to sound terrible. You know, you have to be able to nail this live, because otherwise it's just not going to work. But that was all eradicated when we heard Nemo's pre-party vocals and also their performance on Swiss TV.
Yeah.
They absolutely can deliver it live. And
it sounds like the studio cut.
It sounds exactly like the studio cut, and that is incredible.
Yeah.
This is absolutely going to get a good turnout from the juries. I could see this winning the jury vote, definitely. Um, and I see a place for it doing really well in televote as well. When I think about that kind of split screen, I imagine Yoast and Nemo at the moment. And I can clearly imagine a winner's reprise when Nemo is singing the code for the second time in a night.
No, no.
And for the second year in a row, I am going to be watching the final with Adam. And for the second year in a row, Adam is going to be sobbing into my arms because Adam
Yep.
blubbering like a baby when Loreen won. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's going to happen again.
Yeah, it really could. It really could. This is oh, it's so good.
And then in
Um,
2025, we may well be watching it again together, but probably not in Zurich because
nope,
it will
not
bankrupt.
doing that.
No.
Yeah, we'll get a nice Airbnb somewhere, and just
Yeah.
that will be our Eurovision weekend that year.
And you may or may not be sobbing into my arms on an Airbnb sofa.
If I get my winner winning 3 years in a row, I think at that point I'll quit Eurovision because I'm never getting over that high. Like that's like,
And I will
but
change the
yeah,
podcast name to instead I made a pot.
yeah, 100%.
It'll just be me
But
talking to myself with no one to laugh at my terrible segues.
but I guess that wraps it up for this edition. We will be coming back very, very soon with another one. We'll cover a few more internals, maybe a few more of kind of the big contenders to win.
Adam, you
And
say
we're going
big
to be
contenders. I think we should talk about the
yes.
big five.
Yeah, we should.
Because we haven't talked about any of them yet.
Yes, okay. I suppose a big five episode we should probably talk about the United Kingdom. But yeah, I think the big five sounds like a really good episode for next time. So let's go there.
Yes.
But yeah, look, we'll be back very, very soon. I will see you guys all very soon. And if you want to keep up with everything else that's going on Eurovision related, don't forget to follow our socials on Instagram and Twitter at the Phoenix ESC. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. MJ, do you have anything to take us out on?
Australia sounds really similar to Austria, and I think that we should all just sit with that for a little bit.
Right, goodbye. I'm done.
Bye, everyone.